Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So this is actually going to be our very first autumnal build on the channel for this year, I guess I should say. So yeah, this is going to be our first autumnal build of the year and I'm really excited to share this one. I haven't built an autumnal house in probably like a year. I think, yeah, the last one I did was obviously last autumn. Which is always really funny to me because it's actually not autumn where I live. It's actually, we're not actually in spring yet. Spring technically starts on the, I think like 21st of September. But everyone, always thinks September is, the first day of spring or the first day of autumn, depending on which hemisphere you live in. But yeah, so this is my first autumnal build of the year, and yes, like I said, it doesn't really make sense because of where I live. I live obviously in the southern hemisphere, so it's spring when, the rest of America and everyone has autumn. But I celebrate autumn in, when America does, because I really, really dislike spring and I really absolutely full on hate summer. So the fact that we're moving towards summer again is absolutely atrocious to me and I despise that so much. So I'm just going to stay here and pretend that it's autumn and yeah, live out my best witchy autumnal basic vibes because yeah, I love autumn. I love the look of it. Obviously, unfortunately, where I live, we don't really get, that, I guess, stereotypical picturesque autumn with all of the leaves changing and all of that stuff. We don't really see that where I live. I mean, obviously the trees do change colors and stuff, but where I live, a lot of the trees especially, they're evergreen, so they never really change colors, so it's just green all of the time, all year round. But there are a couple of trees that do change color, but it's never as pretty as, I see a lot of my friends where they live. A lot of the places in the US they have really, really gorgeous autumns, and I'm always so jealous. But anyway, yes, I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I haven't recorded a voiceover in, I guess, definitely more than a week. I think the last build that I did, well, it wasn't even last week. You guys are seeing this video on Monday, but I didn't even post a video last week, so it was the week before that. So yeah, I haven't done a voiceover in quite a while, and this build is fairly long, this voiceover, which, yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do a 30-minute 35 actually minute voiceover when I'm this out of practice, but we'll see how we get on. So yeah, talking about the build a little bit before I get too sidetracked, because like I said, haven't done a voiceover in a while, and it's also 4 AM, so yeah, it's probably not the best idea to do this voiceover right now, but I really want to get this build done because I've been procrastinating on doing this voiceover literally all night. I don't know why. I honestly, I don't know why I've been procrastinating with this as much as I have, but anyway, moving on. So back to the build. So this build is, like I said, first autumnal build. It's very autumnal. I kind of went overboard with a lot of pumpkin and those decorative, not flower, but those decorative, I guess, leaves that you get from seasons that it kind of looks like a, I guess, table garland type thing. I use a lot of those leaves, both on the interior and the exterior of the build, but I don't do the exterior or the landscaping part until the very end of the video. But yeah, I kind of went a little bit overboard with all of the pumpkins and stuff like that on the exterior. On the interior though, I tried to make the house not super autumnal. I did obviously include quite a few decorations, autumnal decorations, so those leaves, pumpkins, a lot of autumnal looking things and a couple of colors and stuff like that as well. but more so in like decoration and less so in the actual like big furniture items. So I didn't want to go and make, you know, the flooring or let's say the wallpapers and stuff. I didn't want to go ahead and make the wallpapers super like autumnal, super themed, I guess you could say, so that it would feel out of place throughout, you know, the rest of the year. So I kind of tried to make the overall vibe of all of the items and the interior building color schemes and stuff like that just more, I tried to make everything just look very rustic and a lot of darker woods, a lot of darker colors as well, and obviously some autumnal colors too. But I tried not to make it super like, I guess I don't know if themed is the right word, but I tried not to go super overboard with it, and I tried not to go super like cliche with it or like tacky, if that makes sense. Now I love like super autumnal decorations and everything like that. I'm one of those people that if I could, I would decorate my house for every season of the year. Probably not summer, because like I said, I absolutely despise summertime and I hate it so much. There isn't a single thing I like about the summer, like nothing. But for like autumn and winter and even spring, I'm one of those people that I would change out the decorations in my house, or like the, I guess, yeah, decorations, pictures, you know, stuff like that, ornaments and stuff for every season of the year. So obviously in this house, I did go ahead and put, you know, a lot of pumpkins and very like seasonal decorations, but I tried not to use stuff like, you know, a big orange couch or, you know, anything like that. I tried also not to make it too bright either. So I just wanted to make it look like a very rustic, kind of, you know, rustic cottage look type thing. So if you were to go through and delete all of the pumpkins and all of the like leaf decorations, then you just be left with a very rustic, normal looking, you know, cottage that would be fine to play in, you know, all of the year, if that makes sense. So the interior does have, like I said, it does have some oranges. It has not bright orange though, it's more like a burnt orange type color. I also use a couple of like green colors as well, but more muted olivey green colors. I used some blue as well, a lot of muted colors, basically blue, red. I also used some purple as well, because always when I think of autumn, I always think of like a really dark, like plum, almost purple color, if that makes sense. I don't know why, but that color combined with like a really dark burnt orange is just, it's like peak autumn to me. So yeah, I tried to use those colors as well, especially in the master bedroom is where I used quite a bit of purple. And then the teenagers room is just all out orange. That room is probably the most orange room in the entire house, but I figured that would have just been like a personal choice that the teenager made. They probably didn't do it, you know, for it to be autumn themed. They probably just did it because they liked orange. And yeah, so like everything is orange and red, and it's a lot. It's probably the, I guess, like the loudest room, if that makes sense. Like, you know, visually it's the loudest room in the house. But yeah, so I don't think I mentioned this, but this is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom house. It's on a 20 by 20 lot. It's actually the lot where I did my Creekside family. I can't remember what I called it, but I think it was like Creekside family home or something like that for my save file. I'll leave it linked on the screen in case you guys want to go ahead and check that out. It's a completely different style, but it's actually for a family in my save file. But yeah, so this is on the same lot. So yes, this is in Copperdale. It's in the Plumbite Cove area of Copperdale, and the only reason I built this in Copperdale is because I haven't seen Copperdale in like any of the other seasons yet. I've only ever built in it in the summertime. So yeah, I really wanted to like see what it looked like in autumn and, you know, check it out. I might even do a couple of winter builds here when we get, you know, more to December and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. But I really I wanted to see what it looked like in autumn, and it's really actually really pretty. So yeah, I loved building this house here, and yeah, it's on a 20 by 20 lot, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms. So downstairs there's actually a little half bathroom with a toilet, a sink, and the laundry machines. And then upstairs there's a big like family shared bathroom. I did cut out me doing both of the bathrooms though, I should mention that. I also cut out a couple of the exterior stuff that I've already talked over. But basically you will have seen that with choosing stuff like the wallpapers on the exterior, it took me forever. I don't know why it took me as long as it did, but I had no idea what I wanted this to look like when I started it. So I actually built this house off of a floor plan that I don't think I have anymore, that I don't think I saved. But basically I took the floor plan idea and then I just completely like, I guess, kind of improvised, I guess you could say, the exterior. So the exterior, I didn't have any idea about, you know, the colors that I wanted to use or the vibe that I wanted to go for or anything like that. So yeah, it took me quite a while to kind of like figure out what I wanted to do, because obviously, like I said, I didn't want to go, you know, super like over the top and use like orange wallpaper on the exterior, which is something, or like orange siding, which is something that I did try out. You might have seen that, but I did try out some orange siding, but it was too much and I couldn't. So I ended up going for a more rustic, you know, kind of like cottage cabin-y type vibe. So that's kind of like reflected on the interior as well. I used a lot of more traditional and rustic furniture and a lot of mismatched stuff, and I had a lot of fun furnishing this as well. But like I said, it took me forever, because I don't know why whenever I do themed stuff like this or like super detailed stuff, I can't ever just, you know, do something and, you know, just do it but not go overboard. I have it too much gene for some reason, and yeah, recently it's really been coming out in like all of my builds, which is why all of my videos recently have been so freaking long. This is, like I said, another 35-minute voiceover, which the video itself was like 5.5 hours of footage, which turned into like a 50-minute like a 50-minute video, which I then had to cut down, which took me forever. Which, you know, that's a whole nother thing, which is kind of also why this video isn't up on Sunday. I wanted to have this video out like over the weekend, and I wanted this video to be out on Friday, which then didn't happen because I didn't end up finishing it. Then I wanted it out on Sunday, which again didn't happen because, yeah, life happened. And I ended up having a really busy weekend. I ended up having a Saturday that was very, like, it was just a lot. It was exciting and fun and not a bad, you know, lot, but it was just a lot. It was very overwhelming for me, and I just ended up coming home and kind of like shutting down mentally, if that makes sense. So if you guys follow me over on Twitter or have seen my community tab post, basically, I had my first ever tattoo appointment on Saturday. I ended up getting my first ever tattoo, and my sister and I kind of made a day out of it, and, you know, went to, you know, some shops in the morning, and then we had our tattoo appointments in the afternoon. And yeah, it was just a very busy Saturday, which, if you know me, you know that I really, really don't like having busy days, like busy in the sense of, you know, going a lot of places and being around a lot of people. It's very overwhelming for me. So yeah, it was very draining. I also slept like 4 hours, you know, Friday night, so that was fun. So yeah, I was very sleep deprived on Saturday. I ended up finishing the build, and then I couldn't get it edited. I was just exhausted. So like yesterday on Sunday, from, you know, when you're seeing this, is actually when I like went through and edited the video, which, like I said, took me forever because, I don't know, I was kind of like still, I guess, recuperating from Saturday. That's the thing with me. I can have like a super busy day and run on like 4 hours of sleep, but the next day or the next 2 days, I'm completely out of it and like completely useless and can't do anything. It's like my brain just decides that nope, we're not we're not functioning and concentrating and peopling at all for the next like 2 or 3 days. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it took me forever to get this video edited, and yeah, I'm now sitting down doing the voiceover at like 4:30 in the morning on Monday, which is great. So that's why this video isn't out on Sunday or over the weekend or anything like that. But I know you guys don't mind. I know I don't need to explain stuff like this, but it always makes me feel better when I explain stuff like this. So yeah, apologies if you don't really care about it, but you have to hear about it anyway. So if you haven't muted me, that is. But yeah, so moving back to the build and getting over my random, I don't know what that was. But yeah, so moving back to the build, we've actually started working on the interior. We're working on the living room and the kitchen area. The kitchen is basically done. I already added in all of like decorations and stuff, or like most of them anyway. And the living room is, I kind of work on it now, and then when I go upstairs to do the main bedroom, I kind of like, I remember that I never finished the living room and I come back to it. So if you see something and you think like, oh, yeah, no, that corner is like completely empty, or like this feels like totally unfinished, it's because it is. I do come back and finish everything. It takes me a while to get there. And then also you will notice that I don't do any of the wallpapers until I've like completely furnished the entire house. And that's mostly because I wanted, you know, obviously to do a lot of like autumnal theming stuff on the interior, and I didn't want to restrict myself with wallpapers. So I figured, you know, I would pick all of the furniture and get all of the colors and everything like that down first. And then when I'm done, I can go through and kind of pick wallpapers that, you know, work with everything that I've done furniture wise, if that makes sense. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up picking some horrible like orange wallpaper or something because it was like autumnal, and then I would just be stuck using a ton of orange in the rest of the build as well, or having it feel like it's like too much. Because let's be real, who paints their entire house orange? If that's something that you've done, then kudos to you if that's your thing, but yikes. Personally, for me, I actually really dislike the color orange. It's just a personal preference thing. There are some oranges that I really do like, you know, this burnt orange, stuff like that, but in small doses. Otherwise, it's just one of those things. It's kind of like the color yellow for me. In small doses, it's great. Bigger doses, just no. I don't own a single orange or yellow piece of clothing at all, like nothing, not even socks. So yeah, it's not really my color. Again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I absolutely despise the summertime, and yellow especially always makes me think of summer. So yeah, that's just a very weird me quirk thing. But anyway, we've kind of finished with the downstairs and we've moved on upstairs. Like I said, I did cut out the bathroom, and I also cut out, why did I say cutted? That was not the correct word. Anyway, I cut out me doing the hallway as well. It's just a very like, it's literally a 5 tile, I think, hallway, which I do include in the pictures at the end. So if you want to see it, there's a plant and a pumpkin in the hallway, and that's it, as well as 2 mirrors and a wreath, but that's not very interesting. So yeah, we've moved on to the main bedroom, and it's kind of a really odd shape because it's the room that has these 2 bump out bits. Now, the floor plan that I was working on didn't have the extra like dormer bump out at the back of the house. It only had the one at the front. And originally this was going to be like the kid, you know, it was basically going to be the second bedroom of the house originally, I think. But then I added in the dormer at the back as well, just because the back of the house was kind of depressing to me and it was looking very flat with just the roof and nothing to break it up. So I ended up adding in the second dormer, and this bedroom just turned out to be bigger than the other one, and I figured, you know what, I can definitely fit in a double bed. Everything works as well, by the way. I should mention that. I did playtest the entire house. Everything works. Your Sims can sit everywhere. They can get up the stairs. They can, you know, both of the bedrooms work. Desks, you know, kitchen, bathrooms, all of that stuff. Everything works. Also, I should mention, I don't know if you guys can hear it. I hope, really hope you can't, but I can hear it through my headphones right now. And it just started pouring down rain. It's incredibly loud, and I was really hoping it wouldn't do that when I was recording this voiceover, because it's been raining off and on like all day and all night. Like occasional bouts of just pouring rain. And it was quiet for a couple of hours, so I was hoping it was over and that I could do this voiceover in peace, but apparently not. Anyway, if you hear rain sounds in the background, then yeah, I can't do anything about it, obviously. So yeah, and I'm not stopping this voiceover and waiting for it to finish because it's 4:30 in the freaking morning. So yeah, I want to get this done. But anyway, we've moved back onto the downstairs to the living room that I never ended up finishing when I started it. And you will notice that I did include some pet items. I ended up putting in a couple of food bowls, a little pet bed, and a toy box as well. I didn't put in a the cat litter box or scratching tree or anything like that, because I figured maybe the Sims that live here have a dog rather than a cat, just because I couldn't figure out a nice place to put the litter box, and I didn't really want to kind of refigure either of the bathrooms to try and fit it in. But if you wanted this family to have a cat, or wanted to play in this build with a cat, then you could easily put in a litter box somewhere. I don't know where you'd put it. Maybe you could delete the laundry machines or delete the whole laundry thing from the house and have it in the downstairs bathroom or somewhere. I don't know. Basically, you can if you download this house, you can obviously change it up and make it work for whatever Sims you have. But there is everything that your Sims could need for a dog, so that's something fun that I wanted to include. And yeah, the main bedroom is done. The parents have a little desk and kind of painting area in their room as well. I don't know why I ended up putting a art easel in their bedroom. I don't have any other artist related things in this house. I don't know, maybe the Sims that live here like painting, I don't know. Anyway, it was just something to fill in that space and a skill building item that I thought they could use. So they have an art easel. Obviously you can replace it with whatever you wanted. But yeah, the main bedroom is done. We've moved on to the teenagers' room, and as you can see, the whole over the top orange and red thing came from me wanting to use that bed and that dresser from the high school years pack. And I actually haven't used that bed in that particular swatch, or the dresser in that particular swatch yet either, so I really wanted to use those. And then I found these curtains, and I kind of went overboard, like I said. But in the case of the teenagers' room, I figured, everything is very orange and bright just because they like it that way. And it's not because they necessarily redecorated their whole room for autumn. It's just, maybe they really like the color orange. They even have an orange desk as well. So yeah, they probably really do like the color orange. And they actually have one of the new streamer computer setups from high school years as well. So maybe they're some sort of streamer, maybe a gaming streamer or something. They also have the fancy new tablet from high school years too. And then I just ended up putting a ton of gaming related art, as well as some music related artwork and stuff, decorations and everything in their room, because I ended up giving them those 2 guitars as well. So maybe they're into gaming and music, or something of that nature. There's also a ton of clutter and just general teenage, room lived in vibes everywhere. So yeah, I had a lot of fun decorating this room. This is definitely a color scheme that I don't usually go for. Like I said, orange really isn't my jam. It's not really my cup of tea. I do decorate with red quite often, or not quite often, but I have used red furniture and stuff in quite a few of my builds, mostly the more modern builds. But orange is very much out of my comfort zone, and I probably won't ever use these curtains in this color ever again. I haven't really even used those curtains I've used them in I think one maybe 2 builds, but in totally different colors. And they're very difficult to use because they're basically full curtains and they cover up an entire window if you use it over a window. So you kind of have to do what I did and like put 2 of them on either side of the window to make it look like they've kind of been pulled open a little bit, which isn't always ideal, especially if you're working with a very limited space or something, or if you like don't want to use up an entire wall just for curtains. But it ended up working pretty well in that room and I really like the way it turned out, so yeah, I did it that way. And we finally moved on to doing the wallpapers, and I actually ended up going for this really dark wood, like crown molding, you know, wallpaper, or like, I don't know if it's like a wallpaper or, I don't know, basically that really dark wood crown molding one with, you know, that came with, I think, Discover University, I think, for the entire downstairs. And then the upstairs bedroom, the main bedroom, has a wallpaper from the Vampires pack, funnily enough, just because it had that same like dark wood color like molding at the top. And then the teenagers room is actually a little bit brighter and it kind of looks more like, you know, they've recently redecorated and they've like painted their walls and stuff. So they have like 3 plain white walls and then 1 wall is this really cool blue and yellow ombre color, which looks really nice, and I really like the way that turned out. It makes it look a little bit more, I guess it makes the teenagers room, I can't speak, look a little bit more updated and a little bit more, I guess, modern compared to the rest of the house, which does make sense to me. You know, usually a teenager would have a little bit of a different style probably compared to, you know, their parents or whatever, which, you know, that does make sense to me. And having just, you know, the white walls for the majority of the room also helped with the fact that it was a very bright and busy room to begin with. So I figured, you know, the white walls would, I guess, tone it down a little bit. And we finally moved on to the exterior, which, yeah, the rest of this video is literally just going to be me like landscaping and doing the backyard and everything like that. So yeah, settle in because there's a lot of it. But something else that I wanted to mention is the reason that I'm doing an autumnal build at like the beginning of September. It's because I actually recently saw Miss Simrino and Rachel Ped, so like April and Rachel. They actually recently did a couple of like autumnal builds themselves. I think Rachel has done 2 at this point and April has done, I think, just 1. But I saw both of them and I actually mentioned it to both of them. It's the fact that they've kind of really put me in like the autumnal mood. And yeah, I really wanted to do an autumnal build myself. They got me really inspired. So yeah, I will leave both of their channels, both Rachel and Miss Simrino's channel. I'll leave them both linked down below because they're absolutely amazing builders. And recently I've kind of just been watching, like, I go through phases with watching YouTube where sometimes I will, you know, watch a couple of different creators, you know, videos as soon as they come out, and I'm really into like watching speed builds, watching Sims content, stuff like that. And then other times I kind of I don't get burnt out, but I don't know what happens, but basically other times I kind of just go off of watching Sims content for a while. So I might go like a month or so without watching anything Sims related. And yeah, those are just kind of like phases that I go through. But recently I've been really into watching April and Rachel's videos. So I've kind of been binging a couple of their older builds as well. And then obviously watching all of their new stuff as it comes out. But I've been watching both of their channels for probably a couple of years at this point. Maybe like at least like 1 or 2 years at this point. And yeah, they're absolutely amazing builders. So yeah, definitely go ahead, check out their channels. I'll, like I said, leave them linked in the description below. But yeah, so back to this build. So the backyard, obviously, because this is a 20 by 20 lot, or like, you know, it's not a very big lot. And also because I wanted to make it a little bit more autumnal themed, I ended up not doing too much in the yard. I didn't, you know, want to put in something like a pool or, you know, an outdoor fire pit or something like that. I kind of, also because I messed around with the rain manipulation, which is something that I don't really ever do, because like landscaping on a lot with the rain manipulation is an absolute pain in the ass. Like really, it was so frustrating. Even with this build, you know, having access to the tool mod is a huge lifesaver when it comes to stuff like this. But, you know, landscaping with the rain manipulation, with plants just floating, if you're like landscaping on, you know, like these plants, for example, when they float in the air because of the terrain, is an absolute nightmare, and I hate it. It drives me nuts. So yeah, I usually only do it in very, very small amounts. This one I didn't even go all out with the rain. I just used it a little bit at the front and at the sides, but basically that meant that I didn't have a lot of like flat space to do, you know, a lot of activities in the yard. So I ended up putting those 3 planter beds in. I actually ended up putting in some pumpkins as well from the cottage living pack, so like those overgrown pumpkins, they have those. And then there's basically just decorative stuff. I ended up putting one of those houses for rabbits as well, those tree stump houses for rabbits. And that's basically the only like activity outside, is those gardening beds. But then I ended up doing this, you know, backyard porch area that's actually undercover, because I used those island living flat floor piece things that's meant to go on the floor, but I use them as a roof, and they actually keep out rain and stuff like that. So this patio does count as being like undercover. So we have the grill, we have a little picnic table with some decorative chairs on the end. Those chairs obviously don't work because they're not snapped to a table, but the picnic table itself does work. And we have a grill and just some seating space, and that's basically it. So yeah, that's basically this whole house. I ended up doing quite a bit of decorating on the exterior. Like I said, I ended up using a lot of those leaves and, you know, a lot of pumpkins. I haven't even gotten to the point where I ended up putting out all of the pumpkins. We're still I kind of jumped around a little bit with this house, and I kind of, you know, went from doing the exterior to hopping into the interior again and changing some stuff up and, you know, adding stuff here and there. And I was kind of all over the place when I did this build, just because, I don't know, it's been a while since I've done an autumnal build, obviously. And since the last time that I did one, we got quite a few different packs. So just doing something in this color scheme with this theme in mind, I kind of had to, I guess, relearn or like reacquaint myself with all of the items that would work for something like this, and, you know, that had color swatches that matched and worked well, and, you know, all of that stuff. Also, with all of the furniture in the house, you'll notice that none of it is a like set style. So I ended up using some more rustic items. I ended up using some more boho items from the high school years pack. I ended up using some things from Eco Lifestyle, like that couch on the patio, and some things from Outdoor Retreat. So yeah, it's just a mix of like rustic and boho stuff. There aren't really any modern items, I don't think, in the house, apart from maybe in like the bedrooms or something. But like the living spaces are all a little bit more like rustic, and just, I don't know, I love the way this house turned out. I know I keep saying that, but I really do like it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed how this build turned out. We still have a couple of minutes left to go, which is just going to be basically me just decorating the exterior. And like I said, I did end up cutting out a couple of things. I cut out some of the landscaping, but just, you know, where I was, you know, maybe doing landscaping at the back that you have already seen me do at the front. So I just kind of those like repetitive things, as well as things where I really just couldn't make up my mind, because yeah, that happened a lot. Because yeah, like I said, I didn't want to go overboard with, you know, orange. Like with these flower boxes, for example, I tried out using those base game ones that came like in orange, but the orange was just too bright, and then I I don't know, I just ended up changing my mind a lot when it came to this build, but I really like the way it turned out, and I hope you guys like it as well. It is up in the gallery if you want to go ahead and download it. It is completely custom content free. I did use quite a few different packs though, so yeah, just be mindful of that because I didn't really pay attention to what I was using. I used a lot of different expansion packs especially, and then I did use a lot of like decorative items from a few game packs and yeah, a few stuff packs here and there. I think I only used like maybe 3 or 4 stuff packs, and then I think I used 3 kits as well. I know I used the country kit, the country kitchen kit, and then the blooming rooms plant kit. I know I used those. But yeah, they're all just decorative items though. I mean the kitchen counters are from the country kitchen kit. So those are the only big items from any of the kits, I think. Anyway, just if you click on the gallery, if you go to the gallery and you click on the little pack icon where it shows you, you know, what packs I've used. If you click on those icons, then you can actually see the exact items that I used from that pack in any of my builds. So that's always something really useful to know when you're checking out a build on the gallery. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, give the video a like. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see some more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bell as well to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. But I hope you're all having a great day and a great start to your week, and I'll talk to you in my very next video. Bye everyone.